Hi, and today I wanted to do a video about this 7 people who were killed, including 2 police constables, I should say, but that's a corporate word, officers. So basically, I've been opening Facebook and things like that and seeing the vile, inhumane, uncompassionate comments about the 5 lads, you know, that were killed, you know, and it's like some grading or some tier who should get the compassion and who should be besmirched and attacked. Now, what I want to say, in my heart and my ethos and my moral, I carry compassion for the 7 lives that are lost and their extended family and friends, you know, but the vile, inhumane comments I'm reading, you know, and I think people have a very, very short memory, you know. Let's just go back to a few months ago and what happened to this poor lad, you know, and what his last words were for help and outreach to the people who want to call themselves officers who were constables. His last vision of looking at them and saying, "I've been stabbed. I didn't think so, mate," you know. And now it's emerged that they went through this lad's phone back to when he was 12. The legal team or the Crown or the police or whoever are entertained it to see if they could just get one racially motivated word besmirching a dead man's character and life on this planet, you know, and hauling their families through that and disgusting tactics which are vile. And now what are we doing to these 5 lads? You know, they are somebody's son. They are somebody's cousin. They are somebody's brother or sibling. You know, stop it. It is vile. It viles me to think that I'm going to open this device in the morning and look at the comments that I have read. Now, you remember when you engage to be an officer or constable, whatever you want to call yourself, enlist yourself for that career, you know. It's the woke training, you know, and the marshmallow the police up, you know, and wrapping them in cotton wool. You are going into a job that's going to give you very, very risky situations. No amount of Tectra, or that's what they've got in their earpiece, or armour around them are going to stop if some incident's going to happen. But, and this is what I have to say, when police go to an incident and an incident evolves, they must take risk assessments. Now, on that night, and bear in mind, we're being fed by a bought and paid for media, a compromised media, you know, mainstream media. What happened that night? And these 7 men can't come back and tell us what happened, right? But just go back to what we were told and what the truth emerges about that lad, that poor lad there. Now, you are meant to take risk assessments, not just for yourself, but for the greater public. And when there's any investigatory body, that should be looked at, if it is, because we know the investigatory bodies can be compromised. So, policing carries high risk. Nobody deserves to die, nobody. But don't think that I'm being, you know, subjected to looking at, these poor lads being besmirched and attacked. They're dead. They are dead, just like the 2 police constables are. We are grieving 7 and 7 families. Just stop it. It's vile. It's vile. You know, we don't know what these lads were puppeted to or subjected to. But I can tell you by looking at this picture, every one of them can't be past 20. They've been brought up with devices, pretending it's social media. You know, I would call it isolation media. Led by that, looking at a phone and being told, let's be in with the crew and in with the crowd. And then we've got the ruse of the government. Oh, let's put the safety bill through to protect people about, online. It's just all rubbish, honestly. It's seriously an insult to one's intelligence, you know. Just go and read Huxley or George Orwell and just see what these poor lads were set up for, you know, and the police. They can't even work it out. Anyway, we're up here in Scotland, and we know through first-hand knowledge and the campaigning and the involvement that we have in our organisation. You know, we've got people with legal backgrounds who support our organisation, ex-police, whistleblowers, NHS, you name it. Obviously, we'd never break anybody's anonymity, but who's came to us and gave us their services to set up the Authentic Rights Movement Scotland. And this exposes exactly what's going on, and people can go and look at exactly what's operating up here. And it's all over. It's all over. But there's no accident with any of it. So we'll put a link to our site. But for the last 5 years, we have supported the deaths up in one police station that now go to 5 deaths. And we've got Henry Nowak's plaque outside it as well. We've got Henry's plaque, because every police station in the UK should have it to remind them about what they failed that poor guy with. But this is Shiku Bayu, Mark Hamilton, Stephen Spike Campbell, Joseph Snedden, and the last one who came into police contact at that particular station was Scott Hooper. And do you want me to tell you? See, every one of these guys, they were besmirched and attacked. It came up in the mainstream media, mental health problems, police past criminal records, or just the usual narrative that plays out to justify that their life has been taken by a corporate body who doesn't want to be held accountable. And you will get the legal eagles who will say, well, it was just, and blah, blah, blah. And, it's horrible. It's horrible. Anyway, so that's what's going up here in Scotland. So this isn't, unique to any party, England or anything like that. And that's the deaths we know about. It's the deaths we didn't know about that's concerning. We come into police contact. So I'm sorry, but I'm no mourning a minority people here. I'm mourning seven lives lost, on an even equal scale, and I'm not looking at any more of this vile stuff. Not one of these laddies look over 20, and we'd never know what truly went on that night. And I'm not listening to anything that comes through that bought and paid for media, because that's just, they're there to divide and conquer. But I'm certainly not looking at any more vile comments about these poor lads and their families. I'm not doing it. I'm not looking at it. It's disgusting. It's vile. And I'll get a backlash and attack and things, but I don't care. I don't care. Because I know what moral, compassion, and standing that I have in my life and what I was brought up with, And I know as well what level that people are being puppeted, and that includes the police. They're watching too much Ballamore and saying I want to be in the police or the bill or whatever. And once they get there, they're being puppeted by a higher up Mason crew, Freemasons, because it's Freemasons that's running the place, and just you have to go to the Met. The Met have actually just says that they have to declare if they're Freemasons, not that they ever are going to, But the omerati to the police family is very, very concerning. But, as I says at the start of this, it's 7 lives lost. No 2. It's 7 lives in totality. And that's horrible. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Police have a duty of care. I know that it's being adhered to in many circumstances, as we now know. And we've still got the ongoing Matters of Henry Nowak. Anyway, people, I'll leave it there and I'll leave links to whatever I put up, okay? Take care.